Hey everybody, I'm Don. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Nevermind. So, a little bit of background about myself. I've been in the AI and ML space for 20 years. I started in commodities trading, doing what was called statistical modeling back then on credit risk scores. Wasn't nearly as exciting as it sounds, so I left that shit and went into IT consulting as a subject matter expert in data and analytics. Did that for the better part of a decade and a half, traveling the world, building large-scale data estates for ML purposes for some of the biggest companies on the planet, HSBC, L'Oreal, AXA, Mizuho. And then 2016, I caught the crypto bug. And in 2017, I made my first foray into entrepreneurship, co-founded a project called Ocean Protocol, which was one of the original gangsters in the AI Web3 cross-section. And have just been focused on this arena on the Web3 and AI side ever since, and have taken basically a decade's worth of knowledge and distilled it into Nevermind, which is a hyper-focus on AI payments. So we have a very particular view of the world. What we believe we're witnessing at the moment is the rise of a new consumer that's going to manifest as trillions of AI agents, and that these agents are going to change commerce forever. We believe that this is category defining, the new category being AI commerce, in a similar way that, humans or carbon-based agents came online in the 90s and 2000s and started transacting with one another and performing e-commerce. We believe that the natural evolution of this is the introduction of AI agents, becoming consumers as well as providers of services online. And in response to this, we're building the PayPal of AI to be the engine behind AI commerce. The issue that we found, and this is come out of almost a decade's worth of work, but in particular over the last 18 to 24 months, really what we've seen is a credible influx of developer and engineering talent into this space, because prior to the release of, it started with the diffusion models from Stability AI, and then obviously was catalyzed by ChatGPT from OpenAI. Before that, this was like super fringe stuff, right? Web3 and AI was not as cool as it is now, right? People used to like side-eye me and look at me like I was crazy or something for working on this stuff. And what we've encountered is a very discernible challenge when it comes to payments. Existing payment systems, whether they're in Web 2 or Web 3, are too static in nature. Stripe was set up to sell T-shirts on the internet. If you're familiar with Stripe, it's a SKU-based architecture. The SKU is the proxy for the product, small T-shirt, large T-shirt. Each of those has its own static price fixed to it. Unfortunately, agents are dynamic and variable in nature, so you can't set a single price for the services that are being offered. And what that has left is builders struggling to account properly and accurately for the services that are being rendered by a given agent. They can use tools like Stripe, but then they have to also build their own bespoke components on top to handle this variability. So we said, fuck that, we'll build it for you. So that's what we're building. If you decompose an agent, just to kind of elaborate on why this is needed, how many people have tried like ChatGPT 4.0 or 0.01 or whatever? Yeah, anyway, I'm going to assume most of you have. So when we first started using these tools, you had to manually select the model that you wanted to engage with, right? Now you just submit your prompt, and in the back end, what happens is these agents, they decompose those requests and route them to the optimal service that's going to provide a sufficient level of inference based on the request that's being given. So really, these agents are built with a series of models whether that's from one provider like OpenAI in the GPT series, or it could be a combination of models from different vendors, Anthropic, OpenAI, could be open source, could be using Llama. So it's a combination of models. Plus, if the agent has any sort of specialization, there's context that goes into these. Those come from embedding sets that are in either vector indexes or vector databases. All of these things combined form the agent. And when they're called upon based on a request, they have a variable cost associated to them. The question is, how do you account for that? So an example I give is, let's say I've built an agent and two of you in the audience are going to use my agent. What Nevermind enables you to do is first set the parameters for accessing my agent, right? So let's say there's a simple user and a complex or power user in the audience. What I do is I set the first constraint, which is, okay, I'm going to charge you to use my agent. In return for that payment, you're going to get a set of credits that are going to allow you to start accessing my agent. So let's say I set that $1 for 10,000 credits. So the simple user pays $1, power user pays $1. They each get their own set of 10,000 credits. What Nevermind also enables is the discrete price setting for, let's say, the models in this scenario. And let's say my agent uses the GPT series of models just for simplicity's sake. So GPT-3 has a price redemption of 10 credits, GPT 3.5 of 100 credits, GPT-4, 400 credits. Simple user submits their request. They paid their $1. They get the 10,000 credits. They submit the request to my agent. My agent backend decomposes that request and optimally routes it to GPT-3. In response to that, and the inference that's provided back to the user, that user is charged 10 credits. The power user submits a multimodal request to my agent. That, again, request gets decomposed, optimally routed, in this case, to the model that can handle the multimodality of the request, that's GPT-4. And so that user is charged 400 credits for that service. So this is the type of thing that we're enabling. What it requires is a system of unit accounting, these credits, that enable the metered cost of the service, whether that's the model service, or it could be the service from the vector database, what have you, translated into a settlement cost for the user. And that application and development is a non-trivial function that we're working to standardize. What we're trying to do is bring together, sort of in a cohesive manner, all of the different components and services that are required from an agentic AI point of view. So that might be the low-level hardware services and the compute. We're not focused on that so much, but really enabling sort of this connective tissue across all of these different boundaries and levels. Our particular focus is at the top of the pedestal, payments for agents themselves, which are a compilation of all of the agent tools, which leverage the infrastructure at the lowest level. But doing so, we believe we're going to really be able to accelerate and scale AI commerce and the adoption of AI agents. Why are we using blockchain? There's a number of reasons, but I'll give you the most ethos-driven reason. So we see payments as the singular choke point for AI agents. So imagine there's trillions of these things out there, and the payment system, the mechanism for these agents to pay and get paid, are monopolized by one of the big tech vendors. OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Coinbase. They monopolize this mechanism. Their ability to deplatform or debank one agent becomes an existential threat to all agents. So let's say Microsoft deems an agent to be in conflict with a business unit. Flick of the switch, that agent can no longer pay or get paid. It doesn't matter if the rest of that agent's stack is decentralized. If it can't transact, at least in an economic environment, it might as well not exist. So at least providing the optionality for these agents to always pay and get paid is really what's motivating us to do this work. So what have we brought to the table? Well, we've obviously spoke about the composable credits that are the system of unit accounting for these services that are specific to a given agent or a set of agents. It does this AI usage metering that allows for the translation of the metered cost of the service into the settlement cost to the user. That manifests in forms of payment plans. We've got a checkout flow that I'll demo in a second, and as well as a bunch of metadata and the accounting and reporting that come along with that. And today we're announcing that we're releasing MAP, multi-agent payments. So for anybody that's familiar with multi-agent systems, you'll know that those agents usually exist in one environment. They're kind of like a bunch of different workflows that you can orchestrate together in a single environment. What we're enabling now is agents that work cross-environment, right? So you can have an agent that's been built by one builder, invoke or request a service, and pay for that service from another agent that was built by a completely separate builder. How does this work? I'm going to run through the demo very shortly, but basically you've got a user. In our demonstration example, this user wants to get a audio summary of a YouTube video. So it submits the URL to one agent, pays that agent to perform this work. That agent does the transcript summarization. So there's an LLM that takes the transcript from the video, summarizes it, but it can't do the audio component, the conversion to audio. So it calls another agent that does the audio conversion, pays that agent to do the audio conversion of the transcript summary, and then that second agent provides provides the audio file back to the original user. And enabled within each of these steps between the user and the first agent, and then the second agent calling the subtask of the audio conversion. Each of these steps has its own unique payment. All right, demo time. Hopefully the video comes up. No. Awesome. No demo. So they told me I couldn't do a live demo, so I created a video, and apparently the video doesn't work either. So sorry, everybody. Oh, hang on. Yeah, here we go. Nice. Okay, so first I'm going to log in. You'll see, in this case, I'm logging in with my socials. So going through the steps. This is just a demo environment, but you'll get the gist of things. So now I'm logging in. By the way, behind the scenes, this is creating a wallet. It's an MPC solution, even though I logged in with my socials and didn't use like a hard wallet or like MetaMask or anything. Now I'm going to go to the specific agent that I'm going to call. So as you can see up here, this is the cost to execute a query. I need to subscribe first. So I need to buy those 100 credits in order to use this agent. As you can see, we've integrated payments either in crypto or card. I'll show you the card, the fiat payment. So I've got to prove that I'm not a robot. Actually, most of the malicious attacks we get are from the carbon-based agents, not the silicon-based ones. So entering my credit card information, feel free to rip this off and go on a spending spree in Bangkok while you're here. So this is our checkout flow. And I'm going to go back to the agent that I'm going to call. So I go into the agent interface. Again, this is our demo environment. Builders can adopt this type of interface or have their own. So you can now see that I have 100 credits. I'm going to take this URL. I'm a big Shohei Ohtani fan, and I want to get the audio summary of this video. So in the background, the first agent is processing the transcript, getting the summary, and then using that as a payload to call the second agent. But in the process of doing that, it's also purchasing the credits for the other agent, providing those in order to get the second service from agent number 2. And now we can break down the tasks. So we're showing each of the individualized tasks. What we'll show in the future is also the number of credits that were burnt by each agent in these tasks. But you have the transcription component, and then the text-to-speech component. And the artifact that's returned to me, the user that made the initial request, is the audio file. I don't think we're going to get sound, and I also just have a snippet of it anyway. But I think it's like a 10-minute long video that was summarized into a 25-second audio snippet. And as you can see, the 25 credits were burned out of my account for that service. Now I'm going to show you the on-chain history. So I'm going to go to the specific plan that I purchased in order to get those 100 credits. Here you see the metadata for the transaction. I can go through. This is on Arbitrum Sepolia. So you'll see the transactions that actually happened to orchestrate this process. If you really want to, you can dig into the transactions. And then the last bit I'm going to show is just that, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was one user that offered the agent. I'm going to show you the second agent here from a completely different independent builder that has their own set of credits for that particular agent. And that's it. I've got 3 minutes for questions. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it off to not Nevermind, but Nevermined. Oh, yeah, questions. Nevermind? Well, the agent can't be mined. Yeah, self-sovereign. Yeah, that's a good question. So I've built payment systems in the past. Most recently, I built a community currency stablecoin in the state of Massachusetts. It's called Humanity Cash. The way we got around a lot of the regulatory burden, so there's two financial substrates or architectures. One's called an open loop system, and the other's called a closed loop system. Right? So open loop are your standard like Visa, MasterCard, SWIFT, those types of payment systems. Anybody can join. Money can be moved anywhere, right? Closed loop are more like your Starbucks rewards, your air miles, those types of systems where not everyone can join, and or the currency that's traded cannot be used outside of a specific set of merchants. So the way that we have built the system with these credits, our system's designated a closed loop system, so we don't have any or very much of the regulatory burden as it's represented through like KYC, KYB, KYAI. We don't need to do that shit by design. Well, our assumption is okay, good. Yeah. I mean, this is just an example, right? I wouldn't pay for that. I hope you wouldn't either. And so, okay, so the long-term vision, like the thing that's compelled myself and my co-founder for a long time is this idea that there's going to be these trillions of agents. Quite honestly, we think that they're going to transact outside of our economic system, right? Like our belief is that the human's GDP is going to pale in comparison to that of AI, right? What we ultimately believe is what we're going to get to is a stage of effectively peer-to-peer bartering between agents. To your point, like the carbon-based usage of silicon-based agents is an interesting use case for us, but that's not the end state. We're going after silicon-based agents to silicon-based agents. What that payment is or that transfer of value, given that we have this end state of peer-to-peer bartering, now we're taking that end state and trying to scenario plan back to where we are now and converting between a discrete asset in the form of these credits as a proxy representation for the service or asset of those individual agents is the best analog to the future state that we can manifest today. Hopefully that made sense, because it doesn't mind it. But. Yes, Robin. That are currently being monetized? Okay, so yeah, okay, so here's a good example. Have you guys heard of like Artisan or 11x? These guys that are putting out agents that do like specific types of work. They're specialized agents for like cold calling clients and things like that. They've also they're working on like business development agents. Okay, so in this model, this single environment is like I source my cold call agent and my business development agent from one environment, 11x's environment. Well, what about in the future where I think Artisan's cold calling agent is better than 11x's, but 11x's BD agent is better than Artisan's, and I want to interchange those, right? I want one agent. I want the BD agent to oversee the work of the cold calling agent, right? How do you facilitate transactions between those? I mean, you can do it in a standard issue, contemporary legal agreement between maybe between 11x and Artisan. Sounds a bit complicated, but it's that type of scenario that we're initially tracking towards. And these are things that are already being paid for from an agent, from an agentic point of view. Anybody else? Oh, I'm out of time. Sorry. Kiro, you're
No problem. Thank you.